I don't know if you were on YouTube in like the early days of like Smosh and like
yeah. I can't forget it. I mean, those were the good old days. Hello and welcome to Just Send It. I'm Sarah Gav and I'm here with
Alex Ochoa Suo.
Welcome, Alex. We're so excited to have you.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here with you and with Manychat.
Yes. So Alex is a wellness and fashion creator. You have like over 200,000 on TikTok and 180,000 on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Something along those lines?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm really excited to like hear about kind of your journey as a creator, and you're also a founder of your fashion line, Shiny by Nature.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm very excited to hear about it. So let's rewind back to the beginning. What made you want to be a creator? How did you start?
Well, this is a really fun question because I started actually, I guess it's a little bit difficult to trace the origins because at the beginning, I was really just posting on Instagram just to share my fashion to my probably 200 followers. And that was during high school. I was just posting outfit pictures. I felt like a little bit of an outsider in my small town, especially during high school. I felt like I was probably one of the only ones daring to dress a little bit weird. I was really inspired by online culture at the time, like Tumblr and stuff like that. This was right when Instagram was, just came into existence. I was in high school from 2012 to 2016, and at that time, barely anyone was doing things online. Like, nobody was chronically online in my school.
True.
Very few people. It was basically, like, the people who were super into anime or, like, super into some sort of, like, fandoms who knew about Tumblr and stuff like that. So I was really into those, like, online communities for, fandoms of different things like One Direction and like K-pop and stuff like
throwback.
That.
Wow.
So I guess you could say I was like an OG of the, like fandom internet era. So I was really inspired by the fashion that I saw online from like influencers, I guess what you could call like early influencers, like bloggers and stuff like that. That was out of the norm of typical high schooler fashion, especially in a small town in Texas. So I started dressing cuter. At that time, I think ASOS had just started delivering to the US.
Okay.
And the price points were really good. I wasn't really resonating with things like Forever 21 and the stuff I saw online, like a lot of like British bloggers and stuff like that. They were all wearing ASOS and I was like, oh, that's so cute. So I started shopping from there. That was probably one of the biggest clothing brands that I shopped from at that time, and I started exploring fashion. And I would just ask my friends at school, like, can you help me take a picture in the hallway?
Oh my gosh.
And I would just post it on Instagram. And yeah, that was right when Instagram started. I think I made an account a few months after the app, went public. And it was really just a photo sharing app. I think there wasn't really any sort of algorithm at that time. It was just like follow your friends. Yeah.
It was all chronological. It was like you had to be there right when you posted. Do you remember that? Instagram was so simple. It was so different.
It was. But at that time, I feel like nobody was using it. Especially amongst like the same age group as me. So I would just use, I think at that time there was hashtags.
Oh yeah, people would
hashtag like food.
Yeah, they would rely on hashtags. Well, like it's funny because at that time, like the word content creator wasn't really a thing, I don't think. I mean, we had YouTubers and we had I guess some influencers, but it wasn't like it is now. Like nowadays, I feel like there's so many people who become content creators and want to. But back then it was almost like looked at as like you're weird if like you want to just like pick up a camera and start like sharing your latte art or whatever,
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the thought of being a YouTuber was so crazy.
Yeah.
Like just now to think of that, it's pretty hilarious because I feel like what's this stat? Like a lot of kids want to become YouTubers.
Oh my
now.
God, it's like over 50% for sure. It's like somewhere, I think it's something like 80%. I don't know. We can put it on the screen.
So crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like at that time, it was definitely like the weird kid thing to do, or like the weird thing to do. You know, at that time, I don't know if you were on YouTube in like the early days of like Smosh and like
yeah. I can't forget it. I mean, those were the good old days.
Yeah, I don't know what they're up to now.
They do stuff. But I don't watch them anymore, but they do stuff.
So interesting how the landscape has changed.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was just posting pictures to the void just for my own self-expression, honestly, as sort of like a record, a little journal. I had no idea that other people could see, you know, could potentially see my stuff. I just was like, I just want to post and, you know, share my things to my like 5 followers at the time.
And look at where you are now. That is crazy. Okay, so like at what point did you realize that you actually wanted to start getting serious with it and that you can actually like make money from it and all of that?
That is super interesting. So throughout college, then I'll fast forward a few years. I started college at NYU in 2016, and I was in engineering school, so it was pretty like difficult coursework. I was super busy, so I didn't have as much time to be posting outfit pictures. This is all before video even existed, like short form video. So everybody was still posting pictures. At that time, I was probably doing like 1 outfit post a week throughout college. And then towards the end of college, in my last years when TikTok started in the US, started blowing up, I think that was like late 2019-ish, early 2020,
right before the pandemic.
A lot of my classmates started using TikTok, and I was reluctant to download the app because I thought like, oh, you know, that's for kids. It was like musically.
There's a lot of dancing.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I don't really want to do that. Like,
I was like, the Renegade? What's that?
So real.
At that time, I was reluctant to join. Throughout college, I've always been super interested in fashion. And even when I was in the engineering program, whenever we did projects or any sort of, you know, we had to do PowerPoints or like end of the year capsule projects and stuff like that, I would always make it about fashion and how we can like make fashion more sustainable. And I would always tie it into whatever, you know, class we were in, whether it was like project management or operations or supply chain management, which I had a lot of those kind of classes. Of course, not specifically in like the science classes, but in any sort of like business classes, I would always do things related to that. And so I gained a lot of knowledge about you know, fashion from behind the scenes, like supply chain, did a lot of research into that for, you know, school projects. So I really started getting the idea of I want to have some sort of business surrounding fashion, although I don't know what exactly it's going to be. I definitely felt the pull toward entrepreneurship. If I can have a little flashback to high school, I actually had my own business during high school. I ran a small Etsy shop.
Oh my gosh.
Where I would just create jewelry and like little like fan merchandise.
Oh, that's so cute.
Basically like fan merch.
Oh, I love that. Isn't it so funny? Because like I'm very entrepreneurial too. Like I had the same types of things. Like I was making jewelry and like custom flip-flops and bows. Like we all do that. We all have an era, like a phase of that, you know?
Yeah, like
So
DIY business.
Yes. Yes. I love to hear that you did that too.
Yeah. I feel like there's some connection there.
I think we all, you know, anyone watching this, if you had a phase like that, let us know in the comments. What was your thing that you sold?
Yeah.
In high school?
I want to know. Because this is so funny. So at that time, I ran it for probably like 2.5 years. And my mom would help me. Like when I went to school, after she dropped me off at school, she would help take my little packages to the post office.
Oh my gosh.
Mail it to the customers for me. I would package everything and then she would just drop it off. So that was super helpful. She's always been like my #1 supporter, even now. So I'm always so grateful.
Shout out, Mom.
Yes, shout out to my mom if you're watching this. I'm sure she will.
Shout out to the parents who support entrepreneurial kids because, man, I think we're a different breed.
Yeah, I honestly think like with my parents, you know, encouragement and support, all of this is possible. You know, I never felt forced to, you know, although I did go to engineering school, that was because of me.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't like forced
Yeah.
to, go into computer science or anything, or law or medicine. So, anyway, so I had that business for a while until college application season started to get crazy, and I wound it down, but I always felt that entrepreneurial spirit inside of me. During college, I did some like side hustles. I would do vintage reselling online, like on Depop,
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's so
stuff like
true.
that.
I know a lot of people who do that actually still.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Shout out to all the resellers, the vintage resellers, because it is a lot of work.
That is definitely a lot. I have a friend who has a whole business doing that, and she crushes it.
That's amazing. If you can crush it doing that, like, you are amazing. It is really hard, I will tell you. So I did that for a while, and then I started another jewelry business of like hand making stuff myself. And I felt that this is not exactly the business that I want to do. So, I gave it a few tries. With the jewelry business, it was okay. I had some extremely humbling moments where I would have new lines, new collections that I had worked so hard on, and then zero sales.
Oh, no.
For a while. But that connects me to what happened with TikTok. So, I had just launched a Halloween collection for the small jewelry business that I had. And of course, crickets, zero sales, even with, shouting it out on my Instagram. And nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oh, let me make a video. Like, you never know what could go wrong. I put pictures of each of the jewelry, the earrings that I had made in like a little slideshow. And then at the beginning, I think I did like a lip sync to some trending song. And then I just put like all the pictures in succession. And I said, I think I wrote in the text something like, I just released my Halloween collection and nobody purchased.
Oh, no.
Like, just like laughing at myself.
Yeah.
And that was my first video that went viral.
Whoa, that's so funny.
There were a few sales from that, but what I really gained was an appreciation for the algorithms and the power that they have to, get your things seen.
Right.
Which is, I feel, such an important lesson to learn. It's like, oh, these apps are so powerful to reach a huge community. And the video didn't even go that viral. I think it was like 200,000 or something.
I mean, that's pretty good though, especially since you had a brand new account probably.
Yeah.
It was small, so you're like, whoa, this is wild. You were probably used to getting like 200 views.
Yeah, right? Probably not even 200.
12 views. That's where we all start.
Yeah. That was really shocking and amazing. And at that point, I thought, this is interesting, although I don't see myself doing this exact business for the long term. I definitely began to fall in love with making videos. And after that, I was like, oh, then I can just use videos to promote my business, my jewelry business. And I kept doing that for a while, and then I wound down that business because I graduated from college. And I remember we went around the class in one of my last classes, and they were asking everybody, what are you doing after graduation? Because most people already had jobs lined up. And I actually was going to grad school. Like, I had the plan to go to grad school, and I started grad school in international relations. And then once I started, it was already COVID, so everything was online. And it was not the best experience, talking to everybody through a screen. And after one semester, throughout the whole first semester of grad school, I was consistently posting on TikTok, and then Reels came out at that time in the fall of 2020.
Yeah.
So I was posting all the same things on TikTok to Reels. And lo and behold, my Instagram started gaining followers after so many years of consistently posting outfits. Now I was making, of course, at the beginning, it was super cringe. But one thing I will tell everyone is you have to be cringe Like, don't let that stop you. You know, we all go through the learning phase. It is super essential, I think, to gaining more skills, to learning. You can't just be perfect on the first try.
That's so real. Seriously, I mean, I feel like I always say this like a broken record, but like we all start somewhere, and every big creator that you see had that moment of like, this is so embarrassing and this sucks. And sometimes it's even the videos that you like would never think would go viral, like your jewelry video. You're like, oh, I have no expectations here. Like it pops off and it's like crazy. So you just have to post the damn video. Like,
Yes.
otherwise you never know what could happen.
Yes, exactly. That is such a good mantra. Like, you never know what could happen. Just try. You know, just give it a try and be consistent. You never know where it could take you. So look what happened. I kept doing that, and I was doing outfit videos, you know, plus size outfit inspiration at that time. You know, very crucial part of my journey is at that time I was bigger, I was plus size. So I was sharing a lot of plus size fashion, plus size outfit inspo, you know, to help other people in the community be able to find cute clothes that fit. You know, I'd be reviewing new releases from different brands and stuff like that. So I had so much fun, you know, just making videos, even though they weren't perfect, they weren't super polished or anything. I felt awkward, but I would post nonetheless. And all of a sudden, after a few months, I think I had around 70,000 followers on TikTok, and maybe around 10,000 on Instagram. At that time, I feel like the Reels algorithm wasn't, you know, like perfected at that time, but it was, you know, it was getting there.
Yeah.
Slowly. So around spring of 2021, I think at that time I realized this can be a full-time job for me.
Right.
And grad school was still online, and I decided to drop out of grad school.
Whoa, what a decision.
Yeah. Well, I'm very lucky that I wasn't forced to like get a job very fast. Like, my husband was helping out, and you know, he encouraged me to drop out. He's like, you know, even I knew that this, like, what I was in grad school for, I didn't want to have a full-time job in that field anyway.
Right.
I just felt so out of place from all of the peers in my classes when, you know, the same situation when people would ask, like, oh, what are you going to do after graduation? All their job responses were pretty standard, you know, going to be like an ambassador or work in like a nonprofit and stuff like that. And I'd be like, I want to start my own business. Like, and people were like, why are you here? Like, it's totally opposite.
Yeah.
I am genuinely interested in international relations, which is why I went into it in the first place, specifically focused on like US-China relations. Like, that is still something like near and dear to my heart, and that I still, you know, have a mission to improve every day. This is a side thing. Yeah, so I'm still genuinely interested in it, but I just didn't foresee myself having a long-term career in that field.
Right.
So
So from there, obviously you have this like awesome clothing line now, right? You've been doing it for a really long time. So when did that start? Like, how did that get into the picture?
after I dropped out of grad school, I focused on TikTok and Instagram full time. I would post every single day, multiple times a day, really in-depth videos. And by around August time of that year of 2021, I think I had almost 100,000 followers on TikTok and let's say around 20 on Instagram. And something that I had been noticing a lot when I would communicate with my audience back and forth was that, and something that I personally saw was, there is something huge missing in the market, especially for plus size clothes, but not just plus size clothes, but the specific problem I was dealing with was, even if the clothes are plus size technically, they often didn't fit my body proportions, which is more like curvy proportion. Like, people with bigger hips had a lot of struggles, had and have a lot of struggles finding clothes that fit that don't have like a huge waist gap and things like that. So as I communicated with my audience, like as I was reviewing jeans and things, I couldn't find a pair of jeans that fit me perfectly. Everything would be kind of subpar. Oh, it would be okay in one aspect, but then it would be really uncomfortable in the waist, or it would fit in the waist and then the hip wouldn't fit properly. So I encountered so many problems like this, and after trying dozens and dozens and dozens of clothing brands, I felt that, you know, there's something missing here. So me and my husband got together and we said, why don't we just make our own clothing brand and fix these problems for not only me, but everyone else that I know has these same problems.
Right.
So that was ultimately how Shiny by Nature was born. In that time, around July and August, when we first had the idea, I started designing and I said, okay, I know several products that I really want and I know are missing from the market. For example, the very first product we launched with was socks that are not tight on your calf.
Oh,
because a lot of people have that problem. Like the socks dig into your calf and leave indentations. I'm actually wearing them right now. These are our
product demo.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it on the one. These are our socks. The
Oh, wow.
revolutionary. They're supposed to look normal,
Yeah.
you know, from the outside, but I specifically designed them to be looser at the top. Not super loose, but where they're comfortable.
Enough where it doesn't dig in.
Yeah.
Wow, so that's so interesting. So that's really awesome to hear that most of the products that you design were for a specific purpose and for a specific problem. Like you answered the problem with the product, which is how some of the best products end up selling and end up doing so well. So as you started to grow, did you start to like incorporate the comments that people were leaving you asking for certain things? Like, was that what inspired more products to come? Like, have you ever considered that?
Yes, actually, this is a super interesting question because I feel like what we're doing, and even to this day, is super unique in the business landscape because we take customer feedback and we actually integrate it into the new products, into iterating on current products and what we are bringing in the future. So at the beginning, for Shiny by Nature, customer feedback and customer input is so important. And I feel like a lot of brands are just not taking customer wants, wishes, and needs into account. So, for example, even right now, every single day, we're asking on Instagram stories, on videos, we're asking, what do you want to see? And when we make new products, new samples, for example, we will always ask the audience, do you actually want this? Like, would you be interested in this? After they give us requests of what they want to see. We turn it into samples. We bring it to the customer and we say, do you want to see this before we put it into production? Because we ultimately feel like we don't want to make something that people don't want.
Right.
And I feel like that's a mistake a lot of brands make, is that they don't take into consideration what the customers actually want. They just say like, here you go. We're trying to revolutionize this and really focus on bringing what people want to buy, what people want to wear, what they want to see. We ask, what colors would you like? You know, what designs do you want to see for the season? What needs do you have? Do you need like work pants? That's something I'm really trying to work on. I've been working on for like 2 years now, is like office clothes. It is really difficult. I've been through countless iterations of work pants, you would think.
I would have had no idea.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like,
Wow.
to make it fit correctly. But I know it's a struggle so many people have. So if you think, you know, you've been asking and it hasn't come yet, like, we are working on so many things behind the scenes for so long and trying to make them really perfect before we bring something to the market.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear that you listen so much to customers, because you're right. I mean, not a lot of brands do that, especially as they start to get bigger. I mean, the one brand that I can think of that at least I feel does it, and I hope you feel the same way, but I don't know, is the brand Pop Flex. You know Pop Flex?
Yes.
Yeah, they do that really well.
Yes.
I've always found that they answer comments and they make designs based on the people and like what they want.
Yes.
You know, so it's cool to see that you do that because it is so unique and not a lot of brands do that.
Yeah, I love that example because when I think of other brands who are doing it correctly, they're the number one that I think of. I love their we also do polls sort of like them, like do you prefer like the short length or the long length, and really let customers decide, because ultimately I'm the main one, I'm the only one designing right now because our business is still pretty small. And you know, I can't think for, you know, the 100,000 customers that we have that are always, you know, shopping the website. So I always want to hear the feedback, you know, and if you don't like something, you know, feel free to say it.
Right.
And we'll always take into consideration, like, if you think on this iteration the neck was too high, we'll change it for the next one, you know, and see if customers like that more. So I love seeing PopFlex doing it. They are slaying.
I know.
I love it so much. Like, I totally look up to Cassie, the founder
Yeah.
of PopFlex. Like, she's amazing. Design queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love what they're doing.
I do love it as well. Yeah, and she's another one kind of similar to you where the founder is so visible, right? Because again, like similar to other clothing brands, like you don't see the founder as much. They're not a content creator. But when you have that relationship to a founder, a lot of times it makes people trust the brand more and, you know, just understand that like, oh, this is like a human-led brand. Like, look, they're answering our comments. Look, you know, the founder is over here making TikToks and she's just like me. And, you know, so I think that that's something that you might have in common with her and that brand is that type of feedback. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I love the concept of founder influencers or founder how'd you say it? Like founders that are visible.
Yeah.
And I feel like it does really give a new connection to the audience. And I love that in this era of social media, now we can humanize the brands.
Right.
And I feel like it's really important to show, you know, we are real people, you know, and we're not going to be perfect 100% of the time. And, you know, we're all real humans, you know, behind the scenes running the business. It's also not just Cassie in the whole of PopFlex. There have a lot of employees. Like, we have not as many employees, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes, you know, at every single step of the way, making the clothes, shipping the clothes, you know, answering customer emails, responding to everything. Like, it's all different people. And I just would love for people to be able to understand, you know, we're all, you know, trying to improve all the time. And, you know, we're not just robot businesses.
Right.
You know, there's real people behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think it's so cool too how more founders are starting to pick up the camera. But it's interesting to see that you kind of did the opposite. You started with the camera and then started your business.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a good segue into something that I wanted to talk about with you. Is like your life as a creator, because obviously you have your business, but you are also a creator. You're posting on social media. I know that you do a lot of brand deals. You share affiliate links, things like that. If you feel comfortable sharing, what is like the split of how you monetize as a creator? Like, does most of it come from your business? Does some come from brand? Like, how does that look for you?
That's a really good question. So as a creator, I have, to get a little bit technical, like I have my own S Corp for all influencer related things that is not the clothing brand.
That's very smart.
Thank you. I try to keep everything in its own business.
Yeah.
So under that umbrella, excluding the clothing brand, the main ways that S Corp generates revenue is brand deals. I would say brand deals is about 80 to 90% of the revenue, and then the rest is affiliate marketing, affiliate links. Under the umbrella of affiliate links, a big one is Amazon, Amazon links, and then I would say other retailers are a very small percentage, let's say through LTK or ShopMy. Those are not as big of revenue streams for me. And then one that I foresee coming very soon, I'm like inches away from YouTube monetization.
Awesome.
So hopefully that'll be soon. But as of right now, the main drivers of revenue for my influencer content creating business is brand deals and affiliate marketing.
That's great. And I think that's a pretty common split. We've talked to a lot of creators, and brand deals typically take, the majority of it, but it can be hard as a smaller creator to start to get those brand deals. So I always suggest like smaller creators start with affiliate links. Like that's how you started, right? You were sharing kind of outfits. You can easily share the affiliate link for that outfit if you have it. So that's really cool. And then on the topic of brand deals, I know that you have some recurring partnerships. Like I know that you partner with Peloton. I know you have some other recurring partnerships. What does that look like for you?
Oh, that is super fun. I love working with brands that come back multiple times. For Peloton, I had been a huge, avid, active user since 2021, which is when I started my fitness journey, started my weight loss journey. It's been a long time that I've been authentically, organically using them, and I really credit them with my falling in love with fitness after my teenage years of having a bad attitude, bad relationship with fitness. It really, really helped shift my mindset and sort of heal my relationship with movement, with fitness, with being healthier. So at the beginning, I had been using them, and to this day, I am a huge user of Peloton. And when I first started making money on social media, I reached out to them so many times asking, like, do you work with creators? Is there any way we can work together? Because I'm such a huge organic fan
Right.
of your products, and I would love to, work together in a different capacity. But it took a long time. I think at that time, they didn't really have any sort of creator program fleshed out, and they didn't really do any influencer marketing. So I just kept being persistent. I reached out over the years, and then finally, after 2 years, I think they started some programs internally, and they said, "Oh yeah, like we know who you are," like
Because you reach out to us all the time.
yeah. And I would be tagging them literally every single day,
My
like
gosh.
just finished my workout. I did this workout and I did this workout, and I would say like what class it was, what teacher it was, and always tagging them. So they knew that I had been using them for a long time, and I had been sharing about them just because I truly love their company and their products. So after a while, they finally came back and they said, "Yeah, let's do a video. Let's make something together." And
Wow.
that's how it all started. At that time, they still didn't have a solid like creator program yet, but we did a few one-off videos throughout the first year that they first reached back out to me. And then last summer in 2024, they announced that they were making a creator ambassador program where they would pick 20 creators worldwide for 2024 initial class of creator ambassadors for Peloton, and I was selected as one of them.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. And I couldn't believe that I was in the same, group of people as, marathoners and
Right.
people who are so inspirational and so amazing. The group is literally the best and so fun. They flew us out to New York headquarters, and we all got to meet all the team at Peloton and see the behind the scenes, and that was super, super fun.
So you literally reached out to Peloton for like 2 years. You tagged them and everything, and then you finally got a brand deal.
Yeah.
But it took you 2 years to get there. That's freaking awesome, though.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It just goes to show that like sometimes you just have to keep going. Like you might not get the result right away, but it's like the more that you like show yourself. And I always say to people too, like who are getting started with brand deals, like start off with the companies that you already use and that you already love. So it's cool that you did that too. I think that's a common thing with all of us. Like just start reaching out to brands that you naturally use anyways.
Yeah.
And they always like to feature people who use them too. So that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's always the best. Partnerships are the ones for the products that you have been using for a super long time and are super familiar. It's sort of like you can, preach what you practice. You know, I was already such a huge user. I'm like, you don't need to tell me any of the instructor names. I already
got it
know.
all. No talking points needed.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, the talking points I can come up with are going to, blow the audience mind. I don't know, just I feel when it comes from somewhere that's super, super authentic, it always shows,
So speaking of brand deals, 'cause I know that you do quite a bit of them, and they all seem to really tie into your niche, right? So fashion or wellness, is that something that you do on purpose? Like, do you specifically pick brands that align with your values?
Yeah, 100%. And I turn down a lot of brand deals that I feel don't align or are something that I feel like my audience wouldn't resonate with or something that I personally haven't used. So I always make it a point where that thing that I'm promoting is something that I'm genuinely a fan of and that I love. Like recently, yesterday, I just went live with a brand deal for Loop earplugs and I've been using them for so long and I was so excited that they came and reached out and wanted to work together to spread awareness about their new earplugs. So something like that I was super, super happy about because it's something that I authentically use. Like I purchased on Amazon a long time ago for myself and I just love it. So that's always the best kind of partnerships I feel when, you already...
When they align perfectly.
Yeah.
So with these partnerships, I know that you have more followers on TikTok than you do on Instagram. And we ask a lot of creators this, and there's always like differing answers here. Do you ever notice that brands typically tend to lean towards one app or the other? Like, do they prefer to partner with you on TikTok because you have more followers, or do they value Instagram more? Like, what do you notice there?
Yeah, this is kind of a surprising answer, but I would say right now they're definitely prioritizing Instagram more, especially with all the uncertainties around TikTok. Even though I have more followers on TikTok, it feels like people's followers on TikTok are valued a little bit less than they are on Instagram. I've seen this with other creator friends, even though they have, let's say, like 1 million on TikTok and 100 or 200K on Instagram, they're usually making more or the same, at least on Instagram, that they are on TikTok.
Yep.
Which is really surprising.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of creators like that too. Actually, in our last episode 2, we talked about doing all of the money that we make as creators, and we exposed all our numbers, like literally everything. I was spilling it all out there, like for real.
Whoa.
And me and Mel, who did the episode with me, we were talking about how like she charges the same amount on TikTok and on Instagram, even though she has like, I think 800,000 on TikTok and like 100,000 on Instagram. It's like the same.
Whoa.
So it's almost like they value Instagram so heavily that those numbers are the same, which is so interesting. So you're not alone in that. I think it's a very common thing. Not that TikTok's not valuable, but that there's something to the fact that on TikTok, maybe so many people can go viral and get a whole bunch of followers that maybe those followers aren't as engaged of a community. And I also think that there's something to the Instagram DMs. Like maybe you feel this way too, but there's something about the DMs that just brings a sense of community. Like you said, people DM you, people comment you for like suggestions for clothing and things like that. I don't know if we're quite there on TikTok yet.
Exactly. You really hit the nail on the head regarding the DMs. I feel like the community aspect of Instagram is so much stronger than it is on TikTok. I feel like even for me as a consumer of content on TikTok, as I'm scrolling, I'll see somebody's video that I really like, and let's say I'll leave a comment, I'll follow them even, and then I'll never see them again.
Yep.
Or like a year later, I'm like, oh my God, like it's you. And I can't remember their name. So it's really hard to search them up or find them again unless I save the video. I feel like on Instagram, especially with the combination of stories and DMs, I just feel like the connection aspect is so much stronger as a creator and as a follower of many creators. I feel like creators are always big fans of other creators. So we really feel both sides of the relationship on social media. So I know I love it when another creator responds to when I reply to their story and things like that. So I always make it a point to respond to as many people as possible as I can. Of course, it's impossible to get to every single message sometimes, but I really try to because I know that's how we cultivate the community. You know, when I respond, then I feel like people are more likely to continue engaging, continue replying to my stories, continue to, you know, reply and give their thought on whatever, you know, thing I'm talking about. And I really, really love that aspect of Instagram. So I feel like that plays a big role into how brands are valuing brand deals on the respective platforms. And I don't know how it is on YouTube specifically. I only have around 12,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I haven't done any brand deals there yet.
You're almost there. I mean, that's a
we'll
great
see.
subscriber count, girl.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
we'll see something.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who does some YouTube partnerships, I think they value YouTube very differently because YouTube is more evergreen. So the videos whereas Instagram and TikTok, the videos last like maybe a week, maybe if you're lucky, they last a month. Usually it's like a day, like, you know, and then they kind of die out. On YouTube, it's like so different because those videos last for so much longer. So a lot of times brands are willing to pay more because they know that people can see those videos for like 5, 6, 7 years versus like 5 days, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what you think. Maybe you'll have to come back when you do more partnerships on YouTube to see how it kind of differs. But yeah, that's just my take on that.
That's so interesting. That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll see it.
Hopefully.
It's exciting. YouTube is awesome too. So one other question that I have for you, if you feel comfortable sharing, was there ever like because I think a lot of us as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as creators, there's somewhere along the line that we make some sort of mistake or we're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that or something like that. Did you ever have one of those moments like as a business owner, like, oh my God, I made a huge mistake here? Or like a lesson that you learned?
Well, this is a great question. I feel like in terms of a mistake, I would probably reframe that as like a huge lesson I learned and say that a huge lesson that sort of felt like a mistake at the beginning, but didn't feel like a mistake after a while was when I was going through the transition from sort of being in a more like fat positive community. I started to want to have a healthier lifestyle and leave that community. And I started to do intentional weight loss and really change how I was living and change my mindset. At first, I faced a ton of backlash from people in the community, and understandably so. I can see where they're coming from with that. But I really felt that I had to be authentic to who I was and really share how much better I was feeling at a lower weight, in healthier lifestyle habits, and hopefully inspire other people to do the same if they so choose to, and share with them the different benefits that changing your lifestyle habits can bring you. But at first, I felt like that might have been a mistake. But now looking back on it, it's been 2 years already since I made that transition. And since I made the transition to talking about it publicly and face that initial backlash, I feel that it actually wasn't a mistake. And a huge lesson I learned was that you need to stay authentic to yourself. And, you know, if you want to be a content creator, especially for a long time, you're gonna shift and you're gonna change throughout your life. And if you share your authentic journey, people know you're not gonna stay the same. Like nobody stays the same and stays in a linear path throughout their whole life. You know, I hope that we can all grow and improve ourselves. We can all keep learning as humans. So if you know, continue sharing your authentic path, even though you might feel like it's a mistake at first, you might upset some people. If that's who you truly are, I feel like you should change that. So something that I felt was a mistake initially was actually not a mistake and a huge lesson I learned. You know, I faced the crossroad of should I not say anything and
Right.
not rock the boat for anyone? Or should I, share how I'm really feeling and potentially change thousands and thousands of women's lives, which I have. I started a newsletter specifically related to the topics of weight loss, sustainable weight loss, healthy lifestyle, wellness habits that
Mm-hmm.
I've personally been doing. Now that newsletter has more than 35,000 subscribers in
Whoa.
just less than a year.
Wow. And I also see that you, first of all, that's awesome. And there's
Thank
so much that
you.
I want to talk about there. But I also see that you share a lot of like freebies and a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
like which is like really awesome because I think that a lot, especially in that world, is like kind of gatekeepy where everyone's
Mm,
trying to like, I don't know, make money off of it and then not share things like genuinely.
yeah.
But I see you doing the opposite. And I think that's really cool and really unique as well. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to shout you out for that.
Thank you. Thank you. That's actually a huge reason why I love Manychat. I've been creating these free PDF resources
Hmm.
based on things that I learned throughout my weight loss journey, throughout my journey to make healthier lifestyle choices, things that have helped me in so many different aspects of that journey. I've been compiling them into different free PDF resources, and then I will use ManyChat to distribute them to anybody who comments asking for it, and distribute the newsletter sign up to anybody who comments asking for it, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people out there, especially women, who want to live a healthier life, and maybe they're in the same position that I was in before, and they don't know where to start. Of
Right.
course, it took me so long. I didn't even know anything about nutrition. I didn't know anything about eating habits until more than 2 years into the journey. Now it's been 4 years. So imagine if I had known all of those things at the beginning, I could be in a totally different place than I am now. So I really want to share those resources for free with as many people as I can possible. So that's why I'm always, spreading the word. And along with the videos, I always attach, you can comment, send, and I'll send you all of my free PDF resources, and you can just download them and learn. And I've received feedback from hundreds and hundreds, maybe more than 1,000 women so far in the past 8 months that I've been doing these free PDFs and newsletters for free,
Hmm.
that it has changed their life, which makes me almost like emotional that I could have such a huge impact on their lives. I always receive messages almost every single day saying I implemented some tips that you gave, and because I did this weight loss journey over such a long period of time, very slowly, in a sustainable method, I always tell people start small,
Hmm.
which I feel like can apply to so many different aspects of life. Like you can't just, dive headfirst in and expect huge, crazy results overnight. It took so long to even see the scale start to move at the beginning, and you can't let that discourage you. You have to just keep pushing through, keep doing things, and envision the main goal. Like, how are you going to see yourself in 10 years? Like, who do you want to be? Do you want to be someone who has these sort of habits or has these sort of habits? Who do you want to be? And a huge factor in that was I was also thinking I want to be a mom in the future, in the
Hmm.
near future. And what kind of mom do I want to be? What kind of role model do I want to be for our kids? You know, who do I want them to see? Taking a walk every single morning. Like, I would love for them to also obtain those habits as well. And
Right.
where do they learn that from? Their parents. Like,
Right.
I didn't see my parents taking a walk. So I never had that concept of, oh, we can like take a walk together as a family and, stay healthy together, or cook whole nutritious foods at home. So I feel like it really starts from that, and I want to be the best parent I can be, the best mom I can be. So, it starts from you are the change.
Yeah. Wow. I really love that you said, because you're right, that principle of starting small and you can do a little bit every day, and that's how you sustainably grow anything. It really can apply to so many things. It can even apply to like the concept of being a content creator, kind of like we were saying, like you have to start small and post all of the videos that get 12 views and reach out to Peloton millions of times before you can actually get to the point where you get that brand deal or you get that viral video that changes your life. And it's also really interesting to hear what you were talking about with the mistake that turned into a lesson, right? Because at the end of the day, I think it's really common that a lot of creators get themselves almost stuck in a box of like a certain niche or a certain thing. And while that works out for many people, it also can be kind of hard because then if you do want to change, you really are relying on people liking you and wanting to stick around for you. So it's great that you were able to successfully do that, because I think that that's something that a lot of people struggle with as a creator.
Yeah.
So that's just really awesome that you were able to kind of overcome that. And now you have these people that are interested in this new thing that you're talking about as well. And you're able to help so many more people because you made that scary choice.
Yes. Thank you. It was really scary. And at the beginning, I really didn't know what was going to happen. But now, like I said, there's been countless people who have messaged me saying that the things I've been sharing have made a huge, real impact in their life. Like, I wouldn't change it for the world, even though, yeah, at the beginning, I was like, whoa, what did I do? Like, did I make the right choice? I have no idea what's going to happen. But if you really feel that, you know, that's your calling, like your people will find you. Of course, it took a long time of, you know, enduring people attacking, for, you know, accusing of false rumors and things, which, you know, I know in my heart it's not where my, you know, mission is. So you just have to brush it off. You know, there will always be pain when you grow, but then you'll come out the other side, you know, especially if you're making these small changes over a long period of time. The trajectory, you know, can be amazing.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Okay, so just to kind of wrap things up, what is next for you?
Oh my God. Next, right now, we're focusing really hard on growing our clothing brand, Shiny by Nature. We specifically make clothes to solve problems for specifically curvy women, but all women of all different shapes and sizes can wear our clothes. We make from extra small to 5X. We're really working on bringing to the market what we never saw before. And for me personally, I have a lot of super exciting projects coming in the works, especially regarding the health and wellness space. I'm still doing super fun things on the side, like as a content creator. But I'm really focused on growing the clothing brand right now because I feel like the world truly needs affordable, high quality clothing that, you know, it's not available out there.
Well, seriously, thank you so much for being here. This was such a cool conversation just to hear how you were able to go from creator to business owner and the different things that came along the way. Tell us where we can find you on social media.
You can find me on social media, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Alex Ochoa Suo. That's AlexOchoaswo. And you can find my clothing brand, Shiny by Nature, on Instagram at Shiny by Nature. And our website is shinybynature.com.
Yes, and we will have your information in the YouTube description as well,
Awesome.
in case anybody would like to check you out and follow you, which I highly recommend it because clearly she is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me, and to Manychat for having me here in their beautiful office.
Thank you, and tune into the next episode where we will feature another awesome creator just like Alex.
Yay!
Bye!
Bye!
You ready? 1, 2.
Bye!
Okay, good. We're going to have a lot of outtakes from that.
It's okay.